Good men don't do that. They're not going to leave their wife and abandon them and see them and she could stay in the street where he found her and all that stuff. That's really low class to even think or have the arrogance to say such heinous things. And a man is married to more than one wife. Well, it ain't his day with her, so just leave her on the bus stop. What?
Warning, viewer discretion is advised. The content, views, and educational material you are about to experience could challenge your belief, trigger strong emotions, and frankly, piss you off. This isn't for everyone. If you're not ready to confront new ideas, or if your feelings bruise easily, this might be the time to click away. Expect to be challenged, to think, and you might even want to scream at the screen. Proceed with caution, and remember, you chose to be here. Let's get it. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. I'm Coach Nazir.
And I'm Coach Fatimah, his wife.
And I am Coach Nyla. I am also his wife.
We are the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as the authors of the book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. With that being said, we want to discuss something that's pretty important. We're going to get into different games, different manipulation or power plays that men and women try to play and deal with when it comes to polygyny in particular. If you don't know, polygamy is the general term that simply means a spouse who is married to multiple spouses. But under that umbrella, there are two in particular. There's polyandry, where a wife has multiple husbands, or a husband is married to multiple wives. Clearly, we endorse and support and I practice polygyny. Right. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and share just some different games and things to really look out for. It's kind of red flags, if you will, when it comes to polygyny, because no, it's not all just hunky-dory or sunshine, rainbows, and what else?
Kittens and unicorns.
Kittens and unicorns and all that stuff, right?
And leprechauns.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So let's get to it. What are some things you want to go ahead and point out?
I think that the unsolicited phone calls and advice that some wives will practice. This is she needs to, you need to tell her to.
What you mean?
Well, the wives will tell the husband.
Oh,
you need to check her. You need to get her. That kind of stuff. And nobody asked they didn't ask you what they need to do. So one of the ways that women can manipulate, we're gonna get over here to husbands and wives, is trying to use their husband for their mouthpiece so that he can communicate what she's afraid to communicate to her co-wife. And it's very manipulative. It's not a healthy practice. He will remember it when he finds it out if he doesn't know it already. And you're not gonna look too good if you're doing that. This is something that can happen no matter the sequence of wives, because we as co-wives and family members, Coach Nyla and I have gotten it from initial wives, we've heard it from subsequent wives as well. There can be these really terrible, people think this is chess in their mind and they're playing checkers. So when you take your husband and you use him as your tool to manipulate, that again, that says something about your character. It says something about how you feel about him directly and your co-wife as well. So he becomes this collateral damage, and you might be thinking, oh, well, he loves me, so I can use him to my advantage to get to her. You know, so
Yeah. That, oh my gosh, crying wolf, where you'll have, it doesn't matter what timeline you're in, whether you're an initial wife, additional wife, it doesn't matter. You want to spend more time. So you have the phone calls, or, you're terrified, afraid, or you miss them, don't want, those different things. It's okay.
So she can't make a phone call?
No, I'm about to get it.
She getting there.
I want you to get there, because I'm like,
I was still I just started.
But for the men that are watching, trying to figure it out,
so
trying to help you.
No, you can't have phone calls, because we, as my co-wife and I, we state over and over again, we're married to him 100% of the time. He's married to us 100% of the time. He's 100% of our husband. It's not this split in half type of guy. So, but the thing is that when it's the crying wolf, when you don't want this person to, you don't want the husband to leave. And we understand that. You miss your husband. You want him to be with you. You want to spend this time. But to take over someone else's time to say, well, I'm feeling sick, or I might need you to do this, and I need this, where it's this manipulation tactic of keeping him away from spending the time or his allotted time with his other wife by making those stories, if you will. And I've heard it, I've seen it, and it happens. So it's a manipulation tactic. The other manipulation tactics that we have to watch out for, or that we have to watch out to not utilize, is using children as pawns and using sex as a weapon. Where it's like, well, if you do this, then I won't do this for you, or I won't give you this, or, I'm going to, tell the kids this, or, you are telling the children certain things so they'll feel a certain way about their father, and that bringing them into the situation where they need not be.
Indeed. So, just think about that. There's so many different things that sprouts up in and of itself, because as a man, you already know you're supposed to be on different time, whether your time schedule or how you have it set up, versus, allowing yourself to be manipulated is the point. All right. And there's a thin line between understanding, recognizing the real need versus, what time does this have to happen this weekend? 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night text. 2 o'clock in the morning. It was an accidental call. It's like, things like that, knowing that some things are annoyances and are done intentionally. These types of things where it almost feel like you babysitting dealing with, a toddler or something like that. All right. So knowing clearly you got to be the man. Some men go and they put their phone on do not disturb or just don't deal with it, which I think that's problematic, because there are chances for real emergencies. Those do happen. And to just cut everything off, that doesn't make any type of sense. Nobody should, first of all, should be regulating your phone time or usage, and you should be able to regulate and check that in when it's not appropriate. All right, that's basic stuff. The other part comes when men want to beat on their chest, like, I'm the man, I have a right to such and such and so on, as though just because you're a man, then that means, you can go ahead and practice polygyny. First of all, it's not for every man, all right, especially not the average man. And we talk about, and I share where the average man's the top of the bottom or the bottom of the top. That's all average is. It's not for that. Furthermore, numbers don't justify it. So if it was for every man, there'd be at least twice as many women as men, and they're not. Okay? So no, it isn't. So just for the fact of you being a man, say, well, I have this or I can do that, therefore, nobody's gonna bow to you just for that. All right, you have to have something that's attractive, and you've already been able to demonstrate something in your life. Furthermore, if you're talking about practice polygyny, that means you're already involved in monogamy, or should be, not just I'm a single man fantasizing, I'll just have all these wives one day. Young guys do that all the time. Well, when I get married, dude, first get in monogamy. All right, try to figure that out, work that out, and try to deal with living with another human being who has their own independent mind and everything else that's going on. Try to work that well before you already trying to jump into expanding when you haven't expanded yourself, your life experiences, and these things, but you may have gotten good with your talking. And as I say, women are seduced by their ears, where men are seduced more by their eyes. So just because you're good at talking, that's that pickup artist stuff. That's one of the reasons I don't go into a number of different, do this or do that, or say this or say that to her. There's a whole genre, a whole category of men out there, these pickup artists. That's not what we buy. It reminds me, if you ever seen the movie Hitch, there was a dude named Xavier or whatever. Dude tried to come in and, try to play the role and everything else. He's a pickup artist. You just want to get at somebody in particular and so on. So there's a whole area out there for that. But when it comes to polygyny, we're talking about raising your standards and raising your core values and moving with morals. All right, so.
You mentioned intentionally doing stuff. Sometimes your intentions can be malicious. So I want to use a strong word so that people remember it, because with some wives, that's what it is. It's being malicious and trying to create a nuisance and to get attention, like Coach Nyla, they were saying. But some of it can be straight up. We had somebody, we were talking about a husband giving his other wife a ride, and this was on Facebook. This argument broke out, and this woman said, well, I would have left her I'd leave her on the corner where she belonged, and he need to just go on past her. Men don't typically do that. Good men don't do that. They're not going to leave their wife and abandon them and see them and she could stay in the street where he found her and all that stuff. That's really low class to even think or have the arrogance to say such heinous things. And a man is married to more than one wife. Well, it ain't his day with her, so just leave her on the bus stop. What? That's family. That's my spouse. I'm not going to abandon them. Now, there's some suckers out there that abandon their wives in more than one way. But we're talking about men that care about their role and that love the women that are in their life. People get mad. They get mad and they want men to measure. Well, how much do you love this one? And how much do you love that one? That's something that you can't place on a scale, but you know you love them. And these are the things you're willing to do and willing to become. So as wives, we know what we're doing. We're sharing our husband, but we are sharing time with the entire world that he's in, and he's sharing it with us too. We can't see us whenever he wants to see us every single time. So everybody has a role to play, and it's important to understand what that role is and to not step over boundaries and ignore boundaries and completely violate boundaries. We don't make calls at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. If we call Coach Nazir, Coach Nyla can speak on this too. He knows if we're calling him at 2, 3 in the morning and it's not our night with him or his night with us, something bad happened. Something is going on. Somebody is sick. Somebody passed away. It's something extreme, but not what you doing. No, we don't do that to one another either. So he doesn't have to step in and say, look now, you two, I don't want to get any calls at 2 and 3 in the morning from the two of yous, right? He doesn't have to do that because we respect each other's boundaries and roles in polygyny.
I like that you said that because it's to comment on that as well as what Coach Nyla was saying about the men, about that the ego the arrogance is like, well, because I'm a man, I can do this. We as wives have those type of egos too. It's like, well, I'm the first wife and I'm, the initial wife. So you should be able to do this. And, my time should be like this, or I should be able to at least tell you when you can go to see her or be with her or certain types of things like that, because I'm first. We made this family. If it wasn't for me and you, then it wouldn't be a family type of thing. And then you have additional wives come in with like, well, we don't have that much time. And, we got to make up this time. And you have all this time with her. What about me? Type of thing. That's manipulation. Whether you want to see it as that or not, we're going to call a spade. And it's what it is. It's manipulation on both ends.
And don't no man want to hear a bunch of whining.
Exactly.
People in general, we don't want to hear our children whining. So you definitely don't want to hear a grown woman whining about what she feels you should not be doing, and that is what you must do.
It reminds me, especially if you're a parent and you know that a child may get in trouble to get attention. All of us can attest to somebody just doing something, get some type of attention, which reminds me of, some of you probably have seen the movie named after a day of the week called Friday. And I don't remember her name who came through with the big mouth. You remember her? Whatever her name is.
I know the song that was playing.
But she came.
YouTube will strike us.
She's like, I love your mom. Playing this whole role.
Is she?
Projecting, doing all this kind of stuff and everything else. But just stirring up, causing stuff. And then it's like, oh, try to be bashful. You know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry.
But to go from, to go from being a little child where we can clearly recognize that to being a grown woman or a grown man doing that, that's a sad situation. And unfortunately, many people are there, all right? And you may not know that, or it may not get pointed out until polygyny comes about in life, but it happens. So the first piece of advice, you probably heard this before, I know I've heard it a lot when I was coming up, is to grow up, all right? Grow up. Man up if you're a man, woman up if you're a woman, whatever term y'all use, if y'all use any terms, because we know how it can be nowadays with men and women when it comes to accountability and responsibility, but especially women. Just being frank is a whole nother level. At least a man can call somebody else out responsible and accountable. But women doing that, whole nother level. But that's another topic for a different video. Anything y'all want to wrap with?
Your husband doesn't want to raise you. He doesn't want to raise you, and you shouldn't have to raise your husband. We're grown-ups. Should be.
You're accountable for your own, actions and what you do. So, and you can't control anyone else, even if you think that you are controlling with your manipulation tactics. The only reason why it's working for now is only because a person has not put their foot down and stopped allowing it to happen. So, understand that once that happens and you see through the manipulation tactics, it's going to be worse on you than, than it being beneficial to you.
And it's better not to do things you got to apologize for later. I mean, just being mature.
You should.
So having some type of foresight instead of hindsight. All right, as adults. And time is going to promote you or expose you.
Definitely.
So if they got this book, they're going to have some, they have an advantage. So with that being said, we'll rock out with GLC. But before we do that, in the comments, what should they put to let us know that they supporting what we're doing and watch the entire video? They got some gems prayerfully, or if you want to debate, put that down below. But what phrase should they put below?
I was just saying hashtag or no games.
Yeah, don't put hashtags.
Don't put hashtags. They'll be like,
stop your comments. They'll hide them and all that kind of stuff. No games?
No games.
No games.
No games.
No games.
No games. Below. We appreciate you.
All right. Well, make sure you're growing intentionally.
Loving fearlessly.
And connecting on a higher level.
Every single day.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace.
I'm a polygamous man. Yeah, I said it.
And I hated it when I found out.
Well, I kind of liked it when I found out.
Was it easy? Not at all. However, if you want to practice polygamy without destroying your family,
make sure you grab our book.
It's been called The Blueprint to Polygamy.
The link is in the description.